Hobby Dad here, and I'm bringing you a video of a backyard pond that I've recently built. I'm not going to cut in a lot of video of the actual work doing it. I am going to talk you through it and put little still shot slides in, because just watching the work get done even at fast speed is tedious. This pond is 14 feet long by about 6 foot wide on the smaller end, and about 8-9 feet wide on the end by the waterfall. One of the first things you're going to do when you attempt a project like this is figure out exactly what you want to put in the pond, and if you're going to have water features that require electric, because putting the pond near the electrical sources and such is very important, as well as just being able to get the proper depth if you want koi or something like that, or having enough space if you want a lot of game fish. Another consideration is that you don't particularly want it on low ground, because you don't want natural rainwater running in to fill it up. It's a misconception. A lot of people go, oh, you know, I'll put it down here and it'll naturally fill. But it also means you're going to be getting runoff and dirt, and it's always going to be murky and muddy. So choosing your location is, and thinking through all your wants and needs are going to be your first step. Also, considerations are depending on what type of plants you want to have in the pond. Some need shallower water, so sometimes you want to build little ledges or steps into the ground as you dig. I had a small pond here before, a drop-in liner about a third of the size of this. Took that out, and then the side towards where the fountain is, there was about a 15-foot tree down there. So a lot of this project was just cutting down and then removing and pulling out the tree that was on this end. And once you get there and you have an outline of where you want to be, you basically just start digging, keeping again in mind ledges that you want, total depth, and whether you want it to kind of have sheer slides or slope down. Given that this pond is fairly small, I want to have sheer sides on the back, so it dropped down deep right away, and then just sort of put some ledges in the corners. Hobby Dad here, and after about 10 hours of moving dirt and digging, we have the tree out and are almost done on this side, digging out the form for where the rest of the pond addition is going to be. It's about 20 inches to the deepest spot. It's going to match up with the deep section in the center of this one. Got 1 or 2 tree roots and pieces to pull out here, and then we're going to go through, touch it up, and then just kind of like here on this upper level, you can see it's been walked down and beat down to be solid. Just sort of tamp everything down, and then the next step is going to be to run a line on sticks a couple times across both ways, throw a level on there, and build the ridge, the berm around the pond so that it is nice and level. All right, we are back, and we have completed digging out the entire area for the pond and have drained and removed the old pond, which you can see here left some nice ledges in the corners from the preformed pond. And we went with a little section here down the middle with an area where it gets deeper down about 2.25 feet deep. And I have taken some string and sticks and lined this off from side to side, which I'm about to throw a level on, to then make sure that we build up the berm to be even around and level all the way. Once you have all that done and your general outline done, you're then going to need to get a liner. We went with the standard EPDM 45 mil liner and accompanying underlayment. Once you have that, you cut down the underlayment, lay it all the way around, and then extra pieces in areas where there might be roots that you didn't get, but you should have tried to have gotten all those, or rocks, or anything that might be sharp and can possibly penetrate the liner. You're going to put that underlayment down, and then probably going to want 2 or 3 people to stretch out the rubber liner, get all the bunching out of it and whatnot as best as you can. Okay, after leveling the berm, we have dropped in the underlayment, stretched it out. Looks like I'm going to try to take out the wrinkles just a little more, but I'm going to go around first and cut off all the excess. Next up is to drop in the liner. And then lay that down. And then you're going to want to cut around into the shape of the pond, leaving about 1.5 feet hanging off all sides. At the beginning, err on the side of leaving too much, because you could always trim a little bit more off. Because in addition to not having it on low ground, you're going to be able to want a little rim or berm around the edge, again, to keep rainwater or overflow from backfilling into the pond. You want all the water to run away. Then eventually you trim it down to about 1 foot of overlayment that you're going to cover with rocks or more soil or gravel or whatever to hold it down and kind of hide the edges. At that point, I had to decide where I wanted the waterfall, and then worked on laying out the couple overflow rocks and where the box itself was going to be in a way to hide it, and figured that out. Then you could have your basics done at that point. I had to go to a landscaping store and bought just over a ton of this rock that I have here, which was not enough to do like some people do the whole hill. I wanted to give the look that the rocks were sort of erupting in clusters out of the ground, and then it left me some room for planting. And then after that, it's a matter of making sure that you test your pump before you go too far, make sure it's running good. And then I had to drag all the rocks back here, slowly place all of them, and then I had somebody bring me some nice big pieces of driftwood. So I had this one in the corner here, and another one I was able to attach a rock to sink it so that it's sort of freestanding out. There's usually a couple of bluegills. See them sort of in the back there by the pump hiding out. I will cut in a picture here of the pump setup we used. It's a 3,600 gallon per hour pump. I estimate the pond to be between 1,000 to 1,200 gallons. So that's about 3 times per hour turnover. I would try to shoot for at least 2. Generally more is better. I also had this really large landscaping stone I brought in and sort of just hung off the edge of one of the flat spots I made to fish like that and have this last piece of driftwood. I went with a almost all gravel bottom, but it's definitely starting to catch detritus between the rocks. It adds to the look, but definitely makes it a little harder to clean. So I've actually removed a little, so it's just a flat covering without much thickness to it. I might thin it out some more and spread it so there's some room between the rocks to make the water be able to get the detritus up off the bottom. But it's finally gotten warm enough. We're going to start adding the water plants, and especially the floating hyacinth, which will take a lot of the nutrients out of the water and help keep it clean. Then around the edges, I've got a number of columbine plants. We've got some dahlias, an orange one and a red one that's about to rebloom. Coleus. That's a cucumber. We've got a general standard lily. I built a little rock step here. We have a couple of different type of hostas. More columbine. This is some blueberry and blackberry bushes over here. These are Kayla lilies. This thing is pretty cool. I don't even know what it is. It was here when I got here 13 years ago. And then we got some Cana lilies and a whole bunch of more standard lilies and some driftwood along the deck. So I think it has come out really good. It was about $1,250 for the liner, the underlayment, the stone, both in the bottom as well as around the edges, the pump, the overflow box hosing. Pretty much start to finish, everything here was $1,200. Give you one last final look. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is a pretty low-tech pond, but if anybody has any questions, ask in the comment section, and I will try to do my best to get you answers to any questions you may have about how to build yourself a backyard pond. Hope you enjoyed the video.